Hi everyone and welcome to our Catalan Wine Series. Today we will explore Trepat, the indigenous black grape variety from Conca de Barberà. I am David Martin and I am based at our WSET head office in London. My main role here is to support our approved program provider network in the EMEA region, in particular Spain, Portugal and the UK. As many of you probably know, the Wine and Spirit Education Trust is the world's leading provider of qualifications in wines, spirits, sake, and beer. The WSET has over 50 years of experience designing and delivering education to help professionals and consumer enthusiasts to learn more about these products. You can take WSET qualifications in over 70 countries. Through a network of more than 800 course providers. If you're interested in finding out more about embarking on a WSET journey, visit wsetglobal.com. I would like to remind you that this webinar will be recorded and available to watch via the WSET Global Events Hub on YouTube. Please feel free to pose your questions in our Q&A box, and we will try to cover as many as possible at the end of the session. This webinar is part of a longer educational collaboration with INCAVI, the Catalan Institute of Vine and Wine. And this partnership has been possible thanks to the efforts of their director, Alba Balcells. Alba, thank you very much for your trust in the WSET and for joining us today.
Thanks, David. Good afternoon from Barcelona, WSET colleagues and friends. Thanks for joining us today for what promises to be an exciting session, What is Trepat? It's a pleasure to have you all here as the director of INCAVI, the Catalan Institute of Wine and Vine. I'm thrilled to kick off this webinar. Catalonia is a region renowned for producing high-quality wines. Through centuries of dedication and adaptation, almost 3,000 years, Catalan winemaking remains as vibrant and relevant as ever. The sector includes 800 wineries with over 8,000 viticultures. Our country is small, but owns a lot of diversity, which we can find among the 12 denominations of origin. Our commission at INCAVI is to make sure Catalan wines get the recognition they deserve locally and globally. We are here to support winemakers, promote sustainable practices, and tackle modern challenges like climate change through research. Education plays a big part in what we do too. We love sharing our knowledge about Catalan wines to inspire people to explore our diverse grape varieties, stunning landscapes, and deep-broad winemaking heritage. And why the WSET partnership is important for us. Over the last year, we've teamed up with WSET to bring the magic of Catalan wines to a broader audience through webinars like 10 Things You Need to Know About Catalan Wines, What is Carinyana, What is Garnacha, and What is Xarel·lo. These have been fantastic opportunities to showcase the uniqueness of our wines. Today, we're keeping that momentum going with What is Trepat, a session that dives into one of our region's unique grape varieties. Trepat is often considered the Pinot Noir of Catalonia, which can give us a better sense of what it's like, even though, unfortunately, we won't be tasting it today. Now, it's my pleasure to hand it over to Xavier Pacheco, a highly respected WSET educator. Xavier will take us through the fascinating world of Trepat and its special place in Catalan winemaking. Xavier, the audience is all yours.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alba, for the introduction. It was very interesting. Yes, Xavier is going to be taking us through the presentation. I just want to give a brief bio of what he does. He's a very well-known sommelier and wine educator. He has worked for prestigious wineries as bodegas Miguel Torres, Cavas Nadal, and Cavas Agustí Torrelló Mata. Xavier is a WSET diploma holder and a Master of Wine student. And when he's not studying, he's also sharing his wine knowledge, teaching at SET school in Barcelona and the wine studio in Madrid. And now we are just giving you all the space for showing us all this fantastic grape has to offer. So thank you very much, Xavier, and I will leave it for you.
Okay. So thank you very much for your introduction, David. Hello to everyone. Greetings from Catalonia, from Sabadell, very close to Barcelona. It's a pleasure to be with all of you. I feel very happy and proud to be able to participate in this WSET and INCAVI webinar. And first of all, I would like to thank the INCAVI team, especially Alba, Laia, Maria, for thinking of me to talk about Trepat. And also thanks to the London School. And to those of you who are watching us and who are studying the different levels of the WSET program, especially those in the diploma, I send you my most positive energy because I know what is the level of demand and hardness that is needed to achieve success. Lots of encouragement. I still remember my good times in London where I studied the diploma. So I send warm greetings to all my former classmates. So without further delay, let me tell you that I want to transmit to you my admiration for the versatile Trepat, the indigenous grape variety of Conca de Barberà. I would like to talk today about this grape because it has been an intrinsic part linked to the region for centuries. Now, almost all the Trepat hectares planted in Spain are in Conca de Barberà. Before that, I will give you a contextual framework of the situation and history of the region, the DO Conca de Barberà, and also about its geographical and climatic factors in the production of Trepat wines. And of course, I will finish talking about the challenges and the opportunities of the wine region and the Trepat. Conca de Barberà is a territory within Catalonia and also a wine-producing DO with the same name. It has a strong link with history and a great agricultural vocation. It has always been a land and intense entrepreneurial spirit that has made it very attractive throughout history. I recommend it to you to visit it if you have not been here, as it has a rich landscape and a great historical heritage, and above all, its people. So before talking about the historical context, I would like to situate on the map where Conca de Barberà is located. For those who don't know, Catalonia is in northeast of Spain, next to the French border, on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. Conca de Barberà is in the south of Catalonia, in the province of Tarragona, southwest of Barcelona. Here in gray, you can see the 12 different wines DOs in Catalonia, because wine has been part of the culture, tradition, and landscape of Catalonia since the arrival of the Greeks and the Phoenicians, who came through the northern part of Catalonia through the Empordà. But let's go back to Conca de Barberà, to the south. There are two main rivers that cross the region, the Francolí River and its tributary L'Anguera. The region is surrounded by mountain ranges, east and west, lower ranges, and north and south, higher ranges. Later, when we talk about its geography, we'll talk about how these geographical factors influence on the Trepat wines. Wine has been linked to the region for more than 2,000 years. DO Conca de Barberà Regulatory Council, as we know it today, was officially created in 1989. The wine-growing region has a vineyard surface of 2,656 hectares and encompasses 15 villages. Approximately 1 million bottles are produced per year with a production of 7,500 hectoliters. There are 28 wineries, most of them small, that produce and bottle wine in the DO Conca de Barberà. Also, there are 546 wine growers who sell their grapes mainly to the 4 big cooperatives. To give you an idea, approximately 85% of the production is for the local market and 15% is for export, mainly to countries such as UK, USA, Canada, and Japan. The styles, are the styles of Conca de Barberà wines? The style are red, whites, and rosé, that are still wines that are produced, and also sparkling wines. Later, we will talk about that. The white, in general, the white ones are light, dry, and have a moderate alcohol content. The rosé are also light, fruity, and fresh, with a moderate acidity. And among the red wines, of course, there are two models. The young wines are smooth and light, while the aged red wines are more full-bodied. The typical white varieties in the Conca de Barberà is Macabeo, is Viura in Rioja, the same grape but different names, and Parellada. And for the reds, our emblematic grape, Trepat, together with de Yebra, Tempranillo, and of course, Garnacha Negra. There are other authorized varieties, such as Chardonnay, Chenin, Garnacha Blanca for the whites, and for the reds, Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, Pinot Noir, etc. To give you an idea of the surface by the varieties, the Trepat, Macabeo, and Parellada together account for 70% of the planted hectares in the DO Conca de Barberà, and Trepat 29%, 760 hectares. I'm telling you, but there are more hectares of Trepat in the region of Conca de Barberà, but they are not used only to produce Conca de Barberà DO wines. Why I'm telling you that? Because in the region of Conca de Barberà, it's also possible to produce wines from the DO Cava and the DO Catalunya, because most of the Trepat in Conca de Barberà is used for the production of Rosé Cava. Look, there are 1,265 hectares of Trepat in Spain. There are a few hectares in Valencia, and the rest in Catalonia, mainly 95% in Conca de Barberà, and the rest in other parts of Catalonia, such as Costa del Segre, Penedès, and Baix Camp. Finally, the Regulatory Council of DO Conca de Barberà organizes every year and gives awards to the best wines of the DO. I encourage you to Google Sigillum Wine Awards, and you will see the prizes that were given to some of the wines a few weeks ago. Viticulture in Conca de Barberà has gone hand in hand with the history of the regions. The Romans, the monks, and cooperative movements is really strong. Let's talk about the beginning. Oh, sorry. Yeah, now. In the 13th century, the Cistercian monks, which came from Northern Europe and settled a monastery in Poblet, and the Templars in the town of Barberà, promoted the cultivation of vines and the production of wine, transmitting their culture to the peasants of the area. At the end of the 18th century, and especially in the middle of 19th century, a great step was taken towards greater recognition of the region's wines. Why? Because they began to export wines and spirits to Northern Europe and the American continent. So the trade of wines and spirits from the region was also boosted by the construction of the train between Montblanc, the capital of Conca de Barberà, and Reus. This helped the wines to reach the port of Tarragona and for the export. From the 19th century onwards, the Catalan bourgeois, the wealthy class of Catalonia, began a golden era in the area with fertile land and plenty of water. They were also favored because the arrival of phylloxera in France. But the arrival of phylloxera in Conca de Barberà in 1893 put an end to this period of happiness. Many hectares of Trepat were lost, but 1 year later, in 1894, the farmers of a village called Barberà de la Conca in Conca de Barberà founded the first farmers' union in Spain with a cooperative to stand united against this severe crisis period. But thanks to this union, at the end of the 19th century, the replanting of the vineyards began under the help of this man on the picture, Joan Esplugas, who learned the solution to fight against phylloxera after a trip to France. The 20th century began with the foundation and the construction of these two impressive buildings, the two cooperatives, one in Barberà de la Conca and the second one in Espluga de Francolí in the years 1903 and 1912. The famous playwright Àngel Guimerà called these buildings las catedrals del vi, the cathedrals of wine. Years later, in 1932, the Estatuto del Vino de España, the wine law, Spanish wine law, was published. The concept of denomination of origin, as we know it today, was reinforced. Conca de Barberà was included, but the arrival of the Spanish Civil War in the year 1936 stopped the creation of the DO. So it was not until 1989 that regulations of Conca de Barberà were approved. And finally, the new DO was born. And the Trepat was mentioned in these Conca de Barberà regulations in order to be protected a variety for making quality wines in the region. Here you can see the wines that are produced in general in the Conca de Barberà, okay? We're talking about general. You can see that more red are produced than whites and rosé. So, but let's talk about the climate and geography. So let's talk the influence of this in the style of the Trepat wines. Most of the vineyards in Conca de Barberà are located in an altitude between 350 and 800 meters. Some little higher, up to 900 meters, which results in fresh, light wines with a lot of varietal expression, especially for the Trepat. The production area is basically concentrated in the center of the region, formed by erosive action of the Francolí River and its tributary, the Anguera, why it's called the Conca Stricta. In general, the soils are mostly calcareous conglomerates with different texture due to the presence of clay and marl. These soils are really easy recognizable by the typical dark brown color. You can find different styles, different types of soils. Let's say that in the valleys, the action of the rivers has created fluvial soils with boulders, and in the southwest, there are slate licorella soils, as in other period like in Priorat. And we can find goblet vines of Trepat, some of them more than 60 years old, and of course, new trellis vineyards. One important thing, you can see two mountains, up to the north, the north, the Serra de Pontins, and the south, the Serra de Pradas. These mountains create this east-west corridor of influence with fresh air coming from the east, from the Mediterranean winds, what's called the marinada. It's so important this. Why I say that? Because the climate in Conca de Barberà is mainly Mediterranean, between the mildness of Tarragona to the east, next to the Mediterranean Sea, and the continentality of Lleida to the west. So Conca de Barberà lies between these two influences. So the combination of altitude and the mentioned marinada, these eastern fresh winds, means that there is insignificant temperature differential between night and day. So these factors affect to the Trepat. First, the harvest is in October, later than in neighboring wine-growing areas. Wines with these factors also helps the wines to have low alcohol levels due to slow ripening of the grapes. This also helps to the wines to keep acidity and develop aromas. The bad thing is that in winter, it creates marked thermal inversions that accentuate the frost in the lower parts. But the three positive factors are perfect for the Trepat wines. As you can see in the graph, the annual temperature is between 13 and 26. In summers, you can reach up to 35 Celsius degrees. The minimum in winter can be below 0. And the rainfall. The rainfall is a big problem in the Mediterranean, in Spain, in Catalonia. Nowadays, it's between 300 and 290, but in the past, it was up to 450 millimeters. Irrigation is allowed, but in the DO, but water resources are rather scarce. So our big queen, the Trepat, here's the native grape, the element that makes a difference with respect to other wine-growing areas in Catalonia and Spain. The origin of the grape is uncertain, although it's said that the monks brought it from the north, but it's not scientifically proven. There are mentions of the grapes in documents from the 17th century onwards. There are many names for the Trepat: Bonicaire, Carlina, Embulicaire, Parrel, etc., etc. It's a vigorous and protective variety, so short pruning is carried out. It has an early budding and late ripening, so it has a long cycle. For this reason, it's sensitive to spring frost, although it has the ability to sprout after suffering a frost, as it has a long cycle, and some vines can ripen until October. It produces, as you can see in the picture, really large, compact bunches with large, rounded berries. Its skin is not thick, with little coloring matter, which makes ideal special together with its acidity for rosé wines and cava. It is sensitive to powder mildew, but is a really hard botrytis resistant. The winemakers I know say that among all the varieties in the area, it is best adapted to hot, dry summers and climate change. As I said before, in Trepat is found 90% exclusively in the Conca de Barberà. 760 hectares for Dio Conca de Barberà, 30% of the vineyards, but I estimated around 1,000 hectares for Deo Cava in Conca de Barberà. Before phylloxera, Trepat was more widely planted in the region. Trepat wines tend to be light, fruity, with medium plus acidity, medium velvety tannins, and around 12 ABV. To make quality wines, the yield is around 8,000 kilos per hectare, and it's used, as I said, to make red wines, rosé wines, and most of them for rosé cava, of course, as I said before, to its acidity. It's a really, really versatile grape. The first red wine made from 100% Trepat was produced with carbonic maceration in the year 1987, and 2 more consecutive vintages. But, and it was not until 2004 that Carles Andreu firmly believed in the Trepat variety and recovered it in the production of 100% Trepat wine, and with really great success. And from 2009 onwards, many more wineries joined the trend of producing 100% red Trepat wines. And one last thing, although there is a Trepat Blanc, white Trepat, exists, it's not genetically related to the black Trepat. In this graph, we can see the wine qualified by the denomination of origin Conca de Barberà, 100 Trepat red, rosé, and white. Yes, it was something symbolic, but in the year 2014 and 2015, a little bit of white wine was produced with Trepat. Nowadays, as you can see, more red wine is produced as the winemakers have demonstrating the potential of the variety. Many years ago, it was the other way around. So let's talk about the future for the grape, for Trepat. Within the global wine market, the Conca de Barberà and its native Trepat grape have big opportunities and challenges in the wine business. Let me tell you some of them. First, Trepat is grown almost exclusively in Conca de Barberà and is considered, as I said, an indigenous grape of the area. So this is, as you know, this is a really important marketing tool in the market. Second, it's really productive and it's really perfect adapting to the climate change after centuries of being cultivated in the area, among the rest of varieties. Third, it's easy to work in the winery, according to the winemakers I've been talking to, producing fresh, easy drinking red wines with moderate alcohol content. And you can see that it fits perfectly with the profile of the modern palate of the consumers that demand this kind of wines. Also, it's not silly to say that it's easy to pronounce. So for the export, it's easy to go in the shop and ask for a Trepat wine. And due to the quality and style of the wines produced, demanded by today's market, it produces wines for the medium to high range on the train. And also wine tourism. Wine tourism in the region has grown exponentially in the appellation, as well as the cultural activity. I recommend you to visit the Festa del Trepat in Barberà de la Conca in July. It's an event of 2 days, a weekend, where all the wines that are producing Trepat wines, rosé and also sparkling and red, during a weekend, you can go there and taste all the wines in a really funny environment. And finally, I would like to invite you to visit Catalonia and Conca de Barberà, to visit the authentic Catalan viticulture, to taste Trepat wines, enjoy visiting the buildings of its famous modernist cathedrals of wines, the Cathedrals del Vi. You can follow the Trepat wine route through the different wineries that produce it. You can enjoy the impressive historical heritage with the 13th century Poblet monastery, and enjoys, of course, why not, a delicious gastronomic offer. If you want to have more information about all Catalan wine regions, you can visit catalanwines.com, catalanwines.com of the INCAVI of Catalonia. You can go to this QR, you can read this QR. And honestly, thank you for following me in this webinar. And I look forward to seeing you here in Catalonia, in Conca de Barberà, with a glass of Trepat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Xavier, for such an interesting presentation. We have a few questions here. We're not going to have time to answer all of them, but I will do a quick selection of some of them. So, Manuela Loconte, well, she makes a couple of questions. I go to the second question you do, because the first one will take probably quite a long time. But the second is, she's asking, can you describe how Trepat contributes to the blend for cava?
Blend, well, normally it's 100% Trepat, normally rosé, and you can find easily in the market. I don't know, because we have been talking before that maybe it's hard to find red wines in export, but you can find easily the big brands known in Catalonia produces. What it's giving is what I said, really smooth color, like pale color, big acidity. I mean, medium plus acidity. Also a little bit of these strawberries, red forest flavors, aromas. It's really smooth. It's really tasty. It's not really strong flavor. I mean, it's fantastic. Normally it's a brut. Also, they add a little bit of sugar, because otherwise it's a little bit, you can have this in order to compensate this a little bit of tannic of the grapes. But this is what it's giving the Trepat to the rosé cava. Normally it's 100%.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Xavier. Another question coming from Teresa Quilarte. Can you tell us some food pairing for Trepat wines?
Well, for the red, as Alba said, you can think, if you have not thinking, you can think about, for example, Pinot Noir. How is a Pinot Noir so smooth? So it's perfect for example, for fish, for example, with some sauce, with some fat, some sauce with fat, with cream, for example. And also with meat, it's perfect with meat with some red fruits, again, because it's so fruity, it's so elegant, it's so intense. It's not tannic, so you can combine. It can be a duck from a duck meat. I can. It's typical here in Catalonia to grow some to create some ducks. You can feed some ducks, so it would be perfect with this kind of food.
That's fantastic. I think well, this is a tricky question. The same person, Teresa, is asking: are they better cava wines made for Trepat or still wines? I suppose you have an answer for that as well.
Again, so it's why it's cava.
Are better the cava wines or the still wines made from Trepat at the moment?
No. Yeah. Different styles. It's not about who you love the most, the father or the mother. I mean, there are different wines, completely different styles, and I really recommend you, because the thing is of this webinar that you cannot taste the wines. Next time we can meet all together, but you can see all this versatility. The key word is versatility of the Trepat. And remember, you can, and in the last year, you can find in the market a small, really small white. Why not? I mean, but it's complete they are different. They are different wines, different styles.
I think we need to try all those wines. So I don't think we have any more time. Unfortunately, there are more questions, but unfortunately, we cannot go through all of them. I just want to thank you very much, Xavier, for your time. Thank you very much, Alba. And thank you very much, everybody who has joined today. I think it's been a very interesting presentation. And if I could, I would go now and buy some of those amazing wines, although I don't know if my neighborhood I will have a shop, but I will try to find some Trepat wines as soon as I can. So I just want to remind you that the webinar recording will be available on the Events Hub. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up to date with all our on-demand events. Also, if you want to find more about the WSET and what we do, you can go to our Where to Study page at wsetglobal.com, where you can find more information about us. And just before we close, you have a feedback pool. Please feel free to complete it if you can. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.